Just put the Digivice down. I'm not letting this segment end without seeing Greymon. You do know that it won't fit in here, right? The boss can just imagine a new roof. Step off. You know I can bulldoze you if I want. If you were going to pull something like this, you should have let me know so you could have had a Phantomon ready and bottlenecked my fun. That's why I didn't tell you. Come on, move. It's gonna be sick. The kids at home are gonna love it. And what's the plan if Greymon goes berserk? Lucifer probably, right? You shouldn't just count on Numu being ready and willing to sort out the messes you start. Shouldn't the heart have his best interest in mind? No, the mind should. I can't believe I'm doing this with you right now. Listen. Hey! Boss, let me digivolve him. Go for it. No! That's not Greymon. Kinda is. Part of the charm of Digimon is the variety of things each rookie can evolve into. For the sake of the series, I'm gonna try and keep everything along what I consider the main line of digivolution. But yours and your character's partner can digivolve however fits them best. Mixing and matching opens a whole new dimension of personalization up. Agumon can digivolve into Greymon, Centauramon, Meramon, Numemon, Tyrannomon, Tuskmon, and more. But their main line, the path only they can follow, is Greymon and GeoGreymon. Let's linger here a bit. How does a little fire-spouting dino dude turn into this? It's because Digimon is weird. These diversions are unexpected and disjointed. How do you bridge Agumon's innocence to Numemon's Numemonness? And now that I'm thinking about it, Numemon's totally the wrong example for this, because Numemon's entire identity is being a mistake, a failure, and an utter disappointment. He's just like me, for real! Yeah, I know I just put at least a few of you onto your newest ride or die, but try and stick with me for at least the next couple of minutes before running off and making Numemon edits and fan art. The slime with Mr. Krabs' bong eyes is what you get when you neglect, abuse, and otherwise mistreat your Digimon while it's a rookie. And do you really have the heart to be a bad caretaker just so you can have a goofy, probably very smelly glob of slugginess that has admittedly incredible dental hygiene? I don't think so. We can make additional segments about how the Digimon's upbringing might influence their evolution. We're trying to make these videos more fun, new. Someone being partnered with an Agumon doesn't really say very much about them. Their personalities are underdeveloped, and the hook of Agumon is in what it learns while you raise it, and all the different ways an Agumon can turn out. All of that on top of their general ugly babiness means I think it avoids the trap of being a basic bitch choice for a favorite like Charmander or Pikachu are. The champion forms give us plenty of options though. An Agumon that evolves into a Greymon tells me, this is a well-balanced, confident tamer who may or may not still be figuring a thing or two out. I feel like I can trust this tamer who's relaxed and casual around Greymon, and seeing as it isn't rampaging or eating said tamer, I can probably trust Greymon too. An Agumon that evolves into a GeoGreymon gives me a bit of hesitation though. What kind of person and what kind of treatment would make a leaner, more intimidating, more uniform and aggressive looking version of a normal Greymon out of an Agumon? The answer's me. I'm that kind of person. Well, one of them. And if your Agumon evolves into something like a Centauramon instead of one of these two, honestly, cook, but what's wrong with you? GeoGreymon is leaner and looks more aggressive. It's efficiency and focus that make this one stand out so much beyond just being really, really cool. This is the outcome for a tamer with determination, someone who already knows what they want and doesn't have to spend 3 stages of digivolution to figure it out. It's also, notably, the champion of the narrow-minded. It's leaner, so there's more muscle for it to throw around and more power in its appearance. It is simultaneously the perfect spear for a person who has defined and developed goals and wants to work tirelessly to achieve them, and Nepo Baby Greymon, complete with a dietitian, personal trainer, a tailor, and all the best customized hardware they could want. Rise Greymon is actually more of the same. Where Metal Greymon's metal bits are crude and chrome, Rise's are painted and specially fit. Metal's wings are tattered, Rise's are flush with its augmentations. Metal's claws, appropriately, look like a goddamn industrial fossil, while Rise has a high-tech revolver-style rail cannon in its place. Speaking of, Metal fires missiles, slow, explosive, wide-spreading armaments that pack a punch, but ones that mean that their mechanical half has to be put to use delicately until they get more used to it. Rise shoots bullets, precise and powerful, and it can fire them off with a lot more confidence. It doesn't have a dash of the awkwardness Metal has, making it more fit for the unwavering and the unabashed. While Shine Greymon is outright flamboyant, it's covered in bright lights and striking geometry, and it taking on the most human appearance so far also implies a new level of closeness with its tamer. I read the form that winds up looking the most in tune with the partner, and the partner that seems the most in tune with their own stages of growth, as the partner right for the person that's completely in tune with himself, instead of trying to find their footing like a normal Greymon line suggests. And that's great and all, but let's talk examples. We'll be using the top-down and the bottom-up method here. Someone whose actions, behavior, and journey get rewarded by Shine Greymon, and a person who knows about Shine Greymon and wants one for themselves. Exhibit A. Here's a familiar setting, the Digital World Tamer Battling Circuit. It's where we threw the last guy into. But now we have a little bit of spice in the bowl. There's a conspiracy, or other stakes of some kind that mean Tamer A has to get to the top and become the new #1 tamer. That's the kind of story everyone's familiar with, so I can spend a bit less time on how it goes and more on what it means. From the word go, Tamer A has a goal in mind, and it's very, very, very unlikely that that goal is going to change anytime soon. Unlike that other Tamer A, he wasn't dragged into the ring, he sought it out. And instead of tiptoeing around, making strides, and planting his feet, this one knows what he wants and wants to get there as quickly and decisively as possible. We've got a bit more of a traditional shonen formula going on here. Most digivolutions come from something social, a connection being made, like a new understanding or a click between the two, while the incredibly simple and innocent Agumon will pick up on their partner's plights pretty quickly and wind up working at their side until they hit a hurdle. At that hurdle, when the Tamer stretches themselves as far as they can, that's when Agumon will digivolve. The context will change from stage to stage, but you can probably count on that same sort of outline showing up again when it evolves into Rise and Shine Greymon later down the line. Narrative milestones and personal milestones are both equally valid, and the best stingers come when you mix the two up a bit. Goals are nice and all, but wanting something doesn't weigh quite as much if it doesn't make an impact. An impact is really good, but progress feels kind of really hollow when you don't want the results you get. You've got to want it, and you've got to start making it happen. You've got to push until you can't push anymore, and once you're finally feeling your arms start to pop, that's when Agumon evolves into GeoGreymon. On the flip side, Exhibit B, I mentioned a Tamer grooming their Agumon into being a Shine Greymon, but honestly, that should totally turn Agumon into a Numemon, so forget I said anything. Nepo Baby Greymon needs a Nepo Baby Tamer. Selfish wants are still wants, and self-entitled shittiness can just be as spear-tipped as unbridled determination. There's also good reason to think that on average, GeoGreymons wind up evil a lot more than Greymons do. I say this because the difference isn't in morality or anything, it's resolve, and as pretty as that word is, you can be resolute about your shittiness. The frame of good and bad that Agumon sees the most is going to be their partners, and it's the one you should count on to project onto them. I should also say it again that Agumon is incredibly innocent by nature, and innocence means impressionability. I would go into detail about how not good a generally apathetic and self-absorbed genetically optimized to beat-ass Greymon would be, but here's a picture of that same Greymon sitting on the floor of a pool. In the mirror of GeoGreymon, a partner's progress gets reflected, regardless of changes in trajectory. Whether Tamer B does a heel turn, sees the error of his ways and starts pursuing things other than personal pleasures, or leans harder onto those pleasures and separates himself even further from what shreds of humanity and decency may or may not even be inside of him, GeoGreymon, Rise Greymon, and Shine Greymon are going to reflect that, and whoo baby, there will be consequences. Innocence is a fork in the road. To the left you have the path of discovery, and to the right you have the path of devotion. So why do we have a GeoGreymon? What do you mean, why do we have one? I just told you. The path of GeoGreymon is one for tamers who know what they want in life. Greymon is for the adventurous, or those in need of an adventure of their own. They are both different tones of confidence, because who wouldn't feel totally empowered having one of these things at their side? Either their hulking presence complements the massive dreams or the massive potential of their tamers, or they contrast it by standing alongside someone who lost their dreams or had their growth stunted as a moniker of who they used to be. A salaryman or a sheltered rich girl with a Greymon is a pair that speaks volumes without any context, and that context changes drastically if it's a GeoGreymon instead. You have to consider the little things. So, and I'll say it a bit more clearly this time, why do we have one? Because we already know what we want, and we're on the path to take it. I hope I can speak for all of us, but I'm locked in. I found things that I enjoy, and a thing to bring an audience I want to touch, and I'm not going to make compromises along the way. That's why my Agumon— wait, my Agumon? We have an Agumon? This guy's ours? Yeah, one of my very own. That's why my Agumon digivolves into GeoGreymon. It's a partner for the trailblazer, for the hardworking and hopeful. It's a pillar of power that's ready to ratchet up and beyond the normal limits of Digimon if it means it can help its tamer reach their goals and be fulfilled. It's less flexible than Greymon for sure, and for all those reasons I honestly feel like an Agumon that digivolves into GeoGreymon makes for a more boring partner too. Geo's leaner, meaner, and built for specialty instead of being a jack of all trades, but I've always been more of a Doberman lover myself, so that's just fine. I know what I'm fit for, but a younger me could have totally used a Greymon in their life. But now that I'm wiser, and I have my crosshairs on something I can take for myself, GeoGreymon's the right Digimon for me. One of them, at least. And maybe it's the right one for you, too.